just quickly, I want to get your all-time 11 because you've been here for such a long time at the club. You've seen so many incredible players come and go. So I want a goalkeeper from you, your all-time, if you're picking your all-time.
Well, it's always difficult because, you know, you'll have 6 or 7 that you will never, you know, you'd always put in. Others, sometimes you might change your mind. And it's difficult. Do you go with your favourite or the best? Goalkeeper, I would go with Jerry Payton as a favourite. I guess Tony Macedo, obviously people in my age group would probably go with, or could well go with Tony. Van der Sar obviously would be considered probably the most distinguished goalkeeper. Yeah. And it was incredible that he got him. Schwarzer was excellent throughout the Premier League, but my favourite, and he was a very, very good goalkeeper, was Jerry Payton. Yeah. Okay.
Defenders, 4 of them. What are you going with?
Well, I'd have to go 5, Ivan, if it's all right, because I'm like.
I'm going to let you have a 5 at the back if you want.
Yeah, when I started watching football, we had 2 full-backs and you had 3 half-backs, which you've probably never heard of a half-back, but in my day, that's what we had, and I could pick my team like that. And again,
I'm going to let you have 4. So does that mean we're missing a midfielder or a striker?
Well, I've got 2 lots of 5. Well, it's 2.
All right, 2 lots of 5 and 1.
It's 2, 3, 5.
2, 3. Okay, all right. Okay. Got you.
Yeah.
Hit me with it.
Well, again, sacrilege really, I guess, for a Fulham fan not to go with George Cohen. And I think most people who wouldn't go with George Cohen would probably go with Paulie Parker. But I love Steve Finnan. I absolutely love Steve Finnan. Yeah. I thought he was brilliant, but he was a model pro. He was just a really nice kid. He was the sort of lad you thought you could have him for a mate. Humble, modest, unassuming, very quiet, but I thought he was superb, Stevie, and he never really put the foot wrong.
No.
So he might not be his overall career. It's hard, obviously, to go against George, but I would go with Steve Finnan. At left back, it's always been a bit of a difficult area. Jimmy Langley for me, but I didn't see enough of Jimmy Langley. I think my dad would say Jimmy Langley. Yeah. Rufus would get a mention, and Kevin Locke, but I'll go with Strongy, I think. Because
who paid you to say
that? I was about to say, you have to say that, don't you?
Well, it'd be difficult not to, but I think he was a much better footballer than people give him credit for, Strongy. He was a great character, obviously, and he's inbuilt in he's part of the fabric of the club. But he's a lovely fella, and I think he was a terrific player. I mean, I started out as a kid as a right winger, and I know he did, and you think, to then suddenly become a left back and be remotely comfortable, when you've been a right winger. And he very rarely got done, Strongy. He was a better fullback than people give him credit for. Great personality, great character. So
he's in the team.
I'll go with Les there.
So we need 2 more, do we?
No, we got 3. We got half-backs.
Okay, we're in the half-backs here. Half-back. So okay, here we go.
Right half, and I would say captain, Alan Mullery. Okay. Just an absolute fantastic. Again, he was gone very quickly. In my day, his first spell at the club, and I'll never forget my dad. He just could not believe that we let him go, and off he went to Tottenham. But fantastic for them, great in World Cups. He came back and he was sensational for us. Won Player of the Year when we got to the Cup final in '75. Great captain, real character, he just was a lion of a man, Mullery, and he was a terrific footballer, great footballer. So you couldn't look past him. I go with Brader. I think as a centre half. Because he's played top level, top division for Fulham, and again rarely had a bad game. Occasionally got done here and there, but he was an excellent footballer, lovely bloke. You'd like to go with Aaron Hughes alongside him, obviously, because they were very, very much a double act. But I've got to go with Gailey. I've got to put Gailey in there. Bobby Moore, obviously, if we're talking about at the peak of his game, was Gailey a better footballer than Bobby Moore? No, he probably wasn't. But Bobby Moore for me, obviously, wasn't at his peak when he came to Fulham. He was still outstanding, and it was still a real honour to watch him play for Fulham. But Gailey, I thought, was terrific. He was another one. He had 6 or 7 seasons, came into the side as a youngster. Again, barely ever had a bad game, Gailey. Yeah. So you got Mullery, Hangle, and Gale. Then you got 5 up front.
5 up front. Here we are.
Wingers.
You're right, there, just in case.
Listen,
you're right. Okay.
Fine, assistant manager.
You've already made him cry. One of your moments.
He's done the magic moment.
He's done the moment. Here with it. You're 5 up front.
Well, it'd be very, very. I think anyone who knows me or knows the period of when I started coming, as I say, mid-60s, and then a couple of years later when you're a bit more in tune with it, Conway and Barrett were just legends, right and left wing. But having said that, Dad would never give me, I don't think, if I didn't put Graham Leggett in. Again, I didn't see enough of. I saw Graham Leggett play, but didn't see enough of him. But averaged a goal every other game for Fulham, I think, and as a winger. But he was just terrific, Scottish international, wonderful player. So he starts on the right. The front 2, it's always going to be difficult. You could go older people than me would be looking at Bedford Jesuit, I suppose, and people like that. I would go with Alan Clark because he was one of the first players I just really idolised. And again, wasn't he nearly long enough? But I remember the day he was sold to Leicester, and I was away with a school at the time, and I was absolutely heartbroken. Yeah, I just couldn't believe it could happen. And he was brilliant, Clark.
Yeah.
I think he played round about 100 games for Fulham, and he scored sort of 60 goals or something like that. You know?
Wow.
Absolutely brilliant, and went on to do it at top level. You know, and a little bit of nastiness there as well. You know, he was tall, skinny, but I loved the way he had his shirt hanging out. It wouldn't be totally out, and it wouldn't be totally in. It was sort of half. So I used to copy that. Clarky was great. I go with Louis Sahar, I think, up front.
Yeah.
I just don't think you could. You know, again,
best player I ever played with.
Yeah, I mean, just sensational. I mean, he'd been in England obviously prior to that, Newcastle, well, that didn't really work out, but it was his opportunity really to get into English football. Obviously, Tigana knew all about him, and he was just sensational. Absolute mustard. You know, 27 goals, I think, or something the season we went up. He could score with both feet, score with his head. He was just one of them, unfortunately, I think, because of his physique and his build and that, he used to pick up silly, sort of niggly, muscle-type injuries. And miss lots of games. But Louis, I don't think you could leave out. And then there's two geniuses then. You got Johnny Haynes and Georgie Best. And again, Johnny, I saw 4 or 5 years of Johnny Haynes, maybe didn't see the best of him, but he was undoubtedly a world-class player. I think anyone who saw him would say that. And to have a genuine world-class player, only ever played for Fulham, you know, a one-man club, one-club man, I should say.
Doesn't happen often.
No, and he was top drawer. I mean, he was up there with Bobby Charlton as you know, the greatest English player of that period, sort of thing. And then Bestie, for me, the greatest player there's ever been. You know, an absolute genius. Yeah. Who again wasn't, you know, he wasn't at his best at Fulham, but he played in a Fulham shirt. We had a season of it. We had 42, 43 games or whatever he played over the 2 seasons, and you can't leave him out. So, so it's Leggett, Clark, Sahar, Haynes, and Best.
That's incredible. One sub.
Well, I left. I was told I could have 3, but
you can have 3. Three subs.
Conway and Barrett, as I say, I've already mentioned, and it breaks my heart really not to be able to put the pair of them in because they were such an integral part of what Fulham meant to me as a young fan. And then Shawnee goes in as the third. If it wasn't for that,
if I weren't here, then it would probably be
whoever else would be sitting in that seat.
Simon Davis.
Or Stephen.
Yeah, but no, Shawnee was brilliant. As you say, he had played in every division, came through. We love to see youngsters coming through and doing the business for the club. And again, just a shame really that he didn't stay. You know, I'd love to see Shawnee go all the way, but absolutely brilliant. Yeah, so he's on the bench.
Sweet. And who would manage it?
It was worth bringing a cake to him.
He said, "Well, I wonder why you did
it." Every half time when you see the comps, you bring him up a bit of cake.
Give him a little back rub. You look stressed
from the chairman's lounge. You see, it worked.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did as well. Yeah, he did.
It worked.
Oh, amazing.
Manager's a difficult one. Tigana, I suppose you'd have to say, really.
Yeah.
Cookie, I loved, you know, as a person. Malcolm McDonald, I really enjoyed because I got involved with the club in those days. You know, I used to go watch training and stuff like that a lot, and had a lot of time for Malcolm. But I think probably Tigana. I mean, Roy, fantastic. It's a difficult one, manager. But
we've had a lot of great managers.
Yeah, a lot of great managers. But possibly, given a talented side like that, to get the most out of them and really produce something special, I'll probably go with Tigana.
What a Christmas party they would have had as well.
Yeah, they would have done. Yeah.
Tigana wouldn't have been happy with that.
No, he wouldn't let Bestie get in there, would he?
No, all right.
No chance.